We'll never have peace in this country because tens of millions of people see what extent the other side is willing to go through just to keep him out of office because they can't beat him on their own merits.
Man, you got to check out YouTube every now and then for a calm Stephen A. Smith. Everybody had a comment about that. I'll start with you, Kevin.
I have a different take on this case, and I just want to preface my words saying before I comment, I've talked about these cases in New York now for months. This really, and every time I bring this up, I get all this Trump stuff. Forget about Trump, okay? We don't do this in America. We don't go after the office of the president with porn star cases. We give a broad swath of latitude. And if you're an ex-president and you murdered somebody, I get it, or been accused of murder. But what is this? This hurts the American brand. I keep saying that. I was in Geneva last week, 150 countries represented there. Everybody's talking about this, saying, what is this porn star thing? Like, this is an American president. This is the office of the United States of America's highest office. And we're doing this? This is sheer stupidity. And I'll tell you what should happen. This should be pushed until after he wins or doesn't win. This should be not part of this election cycle at all. And this is not a Trump-loving comment. This is about the American brand where I bring capital from all around the world to invest here. We look like clowns.
Yes.
I hate this.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about woke tyrant New York Attorney General Letitia James, who has faced a lot of criticism from businessmen like Kevin O'Leary, who have spoken out about the fact that her and other Democrats are clearly and obviously weaponizing the New York legal system to go after their political opponents like former President Donald Trump. And recently, Kevin O'Leary has spoken out about what is going on with the hush money case that is being levied against Trump by woke Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. But before speaking out about that, he was speaking out about Letitia James and the fraudulent business fraud case that she brought against Trump that had no victims whatsoever. But Trump ended up losing because of a woke judge and Letitia James essentially deciding that, hey, they want to try to bankrupt Trump as a part of an effort led by the Democrats in the left to affect the outcome of the 2024 election, put Trump in prison, and to financially bankrupt him and to bankrupt his campaign, okay? And Kevin O'Leary said, hey, this is not what we do in America, okay? We do not weaponize the system against our political opponents. This is a threat to the American brand, right? When I go overseas to try to secure investments and bring it back to America, people are asking questions about what the hell is going on, okay? Why do we have the Democrats going after their political opponents as if it is a banana republic? Well, I mean, that's because essentially that is what America has turned into, a banana republic. So with that being said, Kevin O'Leary was right to warn about Letitia James because this woman truly is a tyrant, okay? She is basically an evil person, okay? As Trump put up the $175 million bond that was reduced down from $450 million that was initially required for him to put up in order to avoid having his assets seized. Now, again, a court decided that no, Trump only has to pay $175 million instead of the $450 million, and Trump went out and got an insurance company that is owned by a Trump supporter to put up the money, right? They put up the money. Trump issued collateral. We said, listen, here's my collateral. We have the money in cash. It is held in an account, okay? And we got the money, right? We got the cash to put up this $175 million bond. However, Letitia James, because again, she is greedy, she is wicked, and again, downright evil, okay, if you think about it, she challenged that and said, no. I'm skeptical of the language of this agreement that you guys set up because the cash that is held in the Charles Schwab account that is being used as collateral to back the bond that's being posted by this insurance company, we're afraid that it can be moved into securities or assets that fluctuate in value. Like, for example, mutual funds, okay? This is what she was saying, okay? And basically, she tried to put questions out there as to whether or not the insurance company and Trump had the money to actually pay this bond, right? This is what she was doing. Even though, again, Trump's a billionaire and the owner of the insurance company is also a billionaire as well too, right? But she tried to put that out there, and that basically made the left-wing liberal media come out here and to speculate that, oh, well, Trump's working with some sketchy company and that she might still seize his assets. Again, it really was just a desperate attempt, a last-ditch effort to do what she really desperately wants to do, which is to take the assets, to use the state to steal the assets of her political opponent. She really wants to do that so badly that, again, she pulled out this desperate attempt in order to do so. However, this has not worked very well, as a judge has basically rejected her effort to reject Trump's $175 million bond. So without further ado, let's get into it.
A judge in former President Trump's New York civil fraud case has just ruled on a new challenge from New York Attorney General Letitia James. She wanted to have Trump's $175 million bond rejected, but the court says his bond will stand. Here's what the former president had to say ahead of that ruling this morning.
We have another trial going on right now. That's Letitia James. She campaigned on the fact that I will get Trump. I'm going to get Trump. And it has to do with a bond of $175 million. She doesn't want me to participate with financial companies in New York. So we have a company, I guess, based in California. I put up $175 million in cash, and she's questioning the bonding company.
Fox Business's Lydia Hugh is here with more. Lydia.
Hi there, Emily. There have been many appearances and hearings before Judge Arthur Engoron during the course of this civil fraud trial. Many of them have been contentious, but this one stands out because the parties were surprisingly collaborative. The hearing lasted for about an hour, and during that time, the lawyers for Trump and the state attorney general's office came to an agreement about the bond. Now, questions had swirled around the company underwriting the bond. That's Knight Specialty Insurance Company. It always maintained that Trump posted cash as collateral to secure the bond. But the attorney general raised questions about how that account was managed and who had access to it and whether Knight Specialty could pay the bond if needed. So to address those concerns, here's what both sides agreed. The cash that Trump put up as collateral will remain as cash in a Charles Schwab account. Knight Insurance will have exclusive control of that account. No one will trade or withdraw the money. Knight Insurance and Trump will provide monthly statements to the attorney general's office and the court proving that the balance remains $175 million. We got to speak to attorney Alina Habba, who is counsel for the former president. Here's her reaction after the hearing.
Ms. James wanted to argue and say that our cash somehow isn't green enough. 1 hour, the attorney general and that judge realized quickly that they had no idea what they were talking about. We came to an agreement that everything would be the same. We would modify terms, and that was it. This is where your taxpayer dollars are going.
Yeah, I mean, she's right about that. To me, it sounds like these people were like, oh my God, Trump keeps cash in a brokerage account. Sketchy. We need to look into this. And it's like, well, I mean, typically, right, if you have a brokerage account, okay, you have access to array of money market accounts. And right now, interest is paying very well in money markets, okay? And you'll probably be smart if you're going to keep cash in today's environment to keep it in a high interest yielding money market account, right? So to me, it seems like they don't really understand how this works. They don't understand that money market accounts are liquid. I mean, it basically is cash. I'm not sure why Trump would want to trade in that account when he's using that money as collateral. But again, all these things that are perfectly normal to anybody that knows anything at all, okay, about finance or financial services. Apparently this is sketchy to Letitia James, right? Which, you know, in my opinion, this is why they worked this out so quickly, because essentially you have to be a dummy and idiot not to understand that, hey, yeah, the cash is in the account, is sitting there. There's no real reason for them to trade it. There's no real reason for them to move the cash or to do anything. Okay. I mean, this agreement is basically between Trump and a guy that owns an insurance company that supports Trump. So I'm not sure exactly why Trump would stiff this guy, especially consider how this guy is helping to save Trump. I mean, It's all stupid to me, right? It's really dumb. But again, what it really reeks of is desperation, right? This woman is desperate. Like, she seems bloodthirsty for trying to seize Trump's assets and to boost her own political profile, right? That's what all of this really is about. A lot of these Democrats, what they're doing is that they're weaponizing the state as their own political campaign, right? They're using the state to go after Trump and to campaign on that and say, hey, I took down Trump. I took down Orange man bad, Orange man evil. And it really is despicable.
Breaking news. The former president is speaking. Court is over for the day. Let's watch.
Thank you.
And they call it a legal expense. That's the exact term they use, legal expense, in the books. And another thing that wasn't even said was we never even deducted it as a tax deduction. So that takes a whole vast area. Most people want to deduct everything. We never even took it as a tax deduction. But they called the payment to a lawyer a legal expense in the books. They didn't call it construction. They didn't say you're building a building. It called a payment to a lawyer because, as you know, Cohn is a lawyer, represented a lot of people over the years. Now, I'm not the only one. And wasn't very good in a lot of ways in terms of his representation. But he represented a lot of people. But he puts in an invoice or whatever, a bill, and they pay it, they call it a legal expense. I got indicted for that. What else would you call it? Actually, nobody's been able to say what you're supposed to call it. If a lawyer puts in a bill or an invoice, and you pay the bill, and in the book, it's a little line, that's a very small little line. I don't know if you could even write more than 2 words. It's not like you could tell a life story. They marked it down to a legal expense. This is what I got indicted over. Think of it. I got indicted. I'm the leading candidate. I'm beating Biden. I'm beating the Republicans now. I have the nomination. And this is what they try and take me off the trail for. That check's being paid to a lawyer. He is a lawyer, or was a lawyer. And also the things he got in trouble for were things that had nothing to do with me. He got in trouble, he went to jail. This had nothing to do with me. This had to do with the taxi cab company that he owned, which is just something he owned, and medallions and borrowing money and a lot of things, but it had nothing to do with me. He represented a lot of people over the years. But they take this payment and they call it a legal expense, and you heard it today for the first time. This is what I got indicted over. This is what took me off and takes me off the campaign trail, because I should be in Georgia now. I should be in Florida now. I should be in a lot of different places right now campaigning, and I'm sitting here. And this will go on for a long time. It's very unfair. The judge is conflicted, as you know. It's very unfair what's going on. And I should be allowed to campaign. And whoever heard of this, you got indicted for that? People in the court just said to me, I can't believe it. This is the case. So we did nothing wrong. The other thing is, if this were such a great case, why didn't the Southern District bring it? Who looked at it, turned it down? Why didn't numerous other agencies and law enforcement groups look at it? Because it was shown to everybody. And very importantly, why didn't the federal elections do anything about it? Because this is federal, it's not state. They're trying to make it a state case, whatever. And it's not state, it has nothing to do. It's never happened before, I believe. Never happened before.
Yeah. So the point that Trump is trying to make here is that the fans looked at this and it was like, you know what? We're going to pass, right? We're going to pass. Also, the DA before Alvin Bragg of Manhattan was looking at this and working on this case. He was like, you know what? We just don't feel like it's enough here for me to move forward before I step down, okay, before I decide not to run for re-election. Alvin Bragg gets in, and all of a sudden, he's like, hey, let's revive this thing, okay? And essentially what he's accusing Trump of would normally be a misdemeanor, which is falsifying business records, okay? Because they're saying that the money that he allegedly paid to Michael Cohen as reimbursement for hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, they're saying that, well, that was actually a repayment. That was not a legal expense. So they're essentially charging Trump with a crime for labeling a repayment as a legal expense, okay, from falsifying business records. And they have elevated it to a felony by basically saying that, well, he did that as a way to cover up other crimes, like, for example, the campaign finance violations that Michael Cohen was found guilty of committing before, right? So this is essentially the theory here, the wild theory from Alvin Bragg against Trump that, again, seems to be very, very, very frivolous, right? Just like when it comes to the Attorney General's case, which also was investigated, the Trump, overvaluing his businesses and stuff like that was also investigated by the last Manhattan DA as well too. Okay, and Alvin Bragg had thought about bringing some type of charges because of that as well too, right? So again, this stuff is just like, it's low-hanging fruit, right? It's low-hanging fruit that these people are trying to use, okay, in order to go after Trump, okay? It really is frivolous stuff where they're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill to take down the president of the United States. I mean, they can literally take down anybody with these types of allegations, right? It's almost like, well, if you make a mistake, right? If you say that, hey, this repayment is actually a legal expense, which, I mean, he's paying his lawyer to do work for him, so I can understand reasonably why he would say it's a legal expense, okay? And that's how his accounting firm marked it. Again, this is the type of stuff that Kevin O'Leary's talking about, right? This is the type of stuff where it's like, yeah, this is scary, okay? I mean, you're quite literally going after this man for things that are very, very, very ticky-tack, and then you're trying to make it a huge thing. You're trying to make felonies out of it. You're trying to bankrupt the man in ways that we've never seen before. We've never seen this done to anybody in this country, and it is really scary. But I guess the point of this video that I'm making, guys, is that unlike the Republican Party, the Democrat Party is ruthless. Republicans are soft. They allow Democrats to get away with stuff, and they don't actually put their boot on the Democrats' neck the same way that Democrats will do to them. I mean, look at what happened with George Santos in Congress. They got rid of him with the help of the Republicans, but Jamal Bowman was allowed to stay. Republicans didn't even put in a serious effort to remove Jamal Bowman for pulling the fire alarm and then lying about it, right? Lying about it on top of that in order to obstruct an official proceeding in Congress. We know he lied. Caught him on video and all that. Republicans say, hey, we're going to give you a strongly worded letter, right? Which is their specialty. Bob Menendez in the Senate haven't made any attempts to remove him. He's been charged with federal crimes, indicted for influence peddling. Republicans have done nothing to try to remove him, even though you have Democrats like John Fetterman that have shown support for removing him. Why is it that the Democrat Party is so ruthless and vicious and the Republican Party is so weak? That's the problem, guys. That's why we're struggling right now, because the Republican Party is weak, okay? And for once in my life, I would like to see the Republican Party grow some cojones, show some backbone, and to be strong and ruthless and vicious the same way that the Democrat Party has shown that they are. For as much as I hate the Democrats and their tactics, I have to be more upset with the Republicans for not doing the same thing, for not fighting back, for not being more ruthless and vicious than the Democrats. So that's just some food for thought, okay? Letitia James didn't just say, oh, well, he put up the bond, I'm done with it. She used every mechanism she could, even if it was stupid, in order to try to seize Trump's assets. Again, for as effed up as it is, the Republicans need to take a page out of that playbook and to actually grow some cojones and go after Democrats the same way that Democrats are willing to go after them. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.